Because this video is about flights doesn't mean that travel by rail, travel by road, travel by foot is not a form of travel. I've done all three. I have traveled on foot, walked across the border. That's a story for another day. But just find your method of traveling and what you enjoy. Don't look to social media or your peers for what you deem enjoyable. Just find what makes you happy and do it. Before you book your flight, the first thing you want to do before picking your flight, you want to Google, do a little research on the specific place you want to go. If you want to go to a certain place, Google the climate by the month you want to travel in. So if you want to travel in June to Jamaica, Google temperature climate in Jamaica in June. If you want to go for a specific event, like you want to go to Japan for the cherry blossoms, Google the month that the cherry blossoms are active. If you want to go to New Year's Eve in a certain country, Google that. If you want to go by climate, Google countries that are hot by a certain month. If you want to go to a place that is cold, Google places that are cold by a certain month. Have that in your mind when you are booking your travel. But for the purposes of this video, it's going to be based on the common traveler. This is a person that likes hot weather, of course. They don't like the cold. They prefer, they could tolerate the cold, but they prefer not to be cold on vacation. And they're pretty moderate in the places that they're willing to go. So it's a standard traveler, nothing special. So let's go. Travel school is back. Like I promised, I'm going to be showing you guys how I pick my flights. Not necessarily book, but pick my flights. But before I get started, if you have not watched my video on the why of traveling, please do so, because this video will make a lot more sense. And before I just show you how I pick my flights, let's do some housekeeping. Number one, the best day to book flights. It is not Tuesday. It is not Wednesday. The best time to book flights is when you have money to buy the flights, and it's really based on supply and demand. There is no special day, there's no special hour to book flights. Most travel deals have a caveat, which I'm going to show you. So I wouldn't really rely on those. There's a reason why these fares are on sale. Corporations are going to corporate. They're going to corporation the way they do. There is no special hack to getting travel deals. Now there might be travel bundles, like if you buy a flight and a hotel. A lot of airlines do that because they want you to book with them. There's that. But again, there's always a caveat. In my experience, most of these hotels are crappy. You're not getting the best hotels when you have these bundles. It's usually they're trying to, increase like the relationship with certain hotel chains or franchises. So yeah, the Tuesday, Wednesday thing, not a thing. The time of the day, not a thing. The VPN, if you have to do all that work to save like $100, and usually these are for like international flights. If your decision to go on an international flight is based on a difference of $100, you should not go, because there'll be a lot more that comes up that you will spend that $100. So don't penny pinch yourself on vacation, unless you're like an experienced traveler who knows how to penny pinch and budget on a vacation. But don't do that at all. What other flight things? There's no certain browser that you use. There's no one site that is better than others, in my opinion. Before I know I like to tussle. But yeah, I would say, bar none, the best way to determine flight prices and get the best flight prices is supply and demand. When you find the sweet spot with supply and demand, you will get the best travel flight deal. That's it. That's how most things work in America. For the consumer, prices are set by supply and demand. The airline industry is no different. So with that being said, we are going to get started. We will be talking about picking your flights, not necessarily booking. Booking is one of the last things I do when I'm planning my trips. So I'm just going to show you step by step how I book my flights. pick my flights, and it's just the way I do it. I'm sure you might have heard of different search engines and stuff like that. I do not use those. I only use one search engine. For this, you're just going to need your phone or your laptop. I use my phone to scroll. I'm just like in my room, in my bed, scrolling. And then I eventually book my flight on my laptop. So you're gonna wanna open your phone. You're going to wanna open your web browser, whether it's Safari, Chrome, whatever you have. And you're gonna type in Google Flights. Nothing else, Google Flights. And you're gonna click on maybe like the first or second link. I'm gonna have like screen grabs of, what you should be seeing or what you should be doing as I talk, but I'm just talking based off on what I know the site looks like and the patterns that I know is going to come up. So my numbers won't be completely accurate, but you're gonna see what I'm referring to. Like, I'm not gonna say, a flight is $960. It could be like $800, but the gist of cheaper, more expensive is the same. So you're gonna go to Google Flights, and you should see a screen that says flights. Then there's like a little search bar. It has your departure city, your destination, departure date, return date, and above that there's like headings, and it should be travel, explore, flights, hotels, and I think vacation rentals. And at the bottom you're gonna see destinations. You're gonna see destinations for different regions. It could be stuff that you looked at or just random places. For me, mine's probably gonna say like West Coast, it's just West Coast, Europe, and Asia, but yours may look different, and that's irrelevant. The Explore tab is also a very important tab, but it's too much to capture in this one video, so just erase it from your brain for this video. So this video, we're just gonna be focusing on the tab that says flights. That's it, and it should say round trip and economy. You can look at first class, but right now we're just looking at economy. I just want to keep it very simple. The one way and the multi-city tab I'm going to do in another video because that is very detailed. So like I said in the why video, if you know what type of traveler you are, your travel personality, one of my friends said that she likes to go anywhere. Girl, I know if I told her let's go to Antarctica, she's gonna look at me like I'm crazy. So she is not an anywhere traveler. I'm just gonna use the example of the common traveler. Like, you like hot weather, you don't like the cold. You can manage the cold, but for a vacation, you don't want to be in the cold. You like being, somewhere that's kind of popular. You want there to be other people or events or special things going on in the destination of your choice. For example, you want to go to Jamaica and go on that raft. If the raft is not there, you may say, I may not want to go to Jamaica. So stuff like that. And also what I said about, if you are the type of person that needs to go to a specific place at a specific time, you're going to be paying a little bit more for your travels because everybody else is going. So I'm going to hop right in. The examples I'm going to use in this video are Europe and Asia. I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to use Athens. I'm going to go back after this video and screen record it. I'm going to use Athens, Dubai, and Paris. So high and low season. High and low season is really what determines what your flight price is going to be. So right now in Europe, most of Europe is considered low season. Summer in Europe is the big thing. It's when most people travel. It's when they have a lot of their festivals. It's crowded and it's pricey. So right now, this video is being filmed in January. So if you're watching this in another month, these examples may not apply, but the patterns will still be the same. So I'm also gonna be booking out of EWR, JFK, or LaGuardia, one of those three. It's my region. I'm in the tri-state. So right now in Europe is low season. It's very cold. People don't want to be there during the cold weather. But for me, as an anywhere traveler, I would go because I don't mind the cold. And these are not really beachy destinations, so I don't really care. So for Athens, so you're going to put, you're going to see it here. I will have like EWR JFK to Athens. And usually when you put in your the city, the destination, it gives you like maybe like a date that's 2 to 3 weeks out. Again, this is about me booking last minute flights, and you're gonna see why they're better. So it's probably gonna populate like 2 weeks from now. So if today is January 14th, so it'll probably be like in the 20s, January 20 something or whatever the case may be. And you'll see the flight prices. I think Athens should hover over around like 600, 700, 800, somewhere in that range. And this is booking 2 weeks in advance. Now, high season in Athens, in Europe, is like May to like August. That's like prime time. So if you change your date from, put a random date, August 15th to August 20th, whatever, you can put in that date, you'll see that the prices are like hovering around 1,000 or more. Now, people say you don't need to book 6 months, 3 months in advance, but when you're shopping for patterns, flight seasons, a flight that's 2 weeks out is cheaper than the flight that's planned 6, 7 months in advance. So no, booking in advance does not guarantee you a cheaper flight. The reason why it's cheaper is because it is low season. So we're gonna try another destination. We're gonna do the opposite. Right now, again, it's January. This is Dubai's high season. So if you put in a flight price for Dubai right now, might hover over like 900, 1,000. But if you put in for like the dead of the summer, like the prices will hover like maybe like 800, something of the sort. This is if you're using Newark, JFK, LaGuardia. Don't plug in Kansas City, Missouri, and be like, Bianca, my flight prices say 2,000. Please. So again, it depends on your region. Now the pattern again is going to be the same. The flight out of West Bubble is still going to be cheaper in low season than it is in high season. Then the last one, we are going to do, what did I say was the Paris. So on my Explore tab, you see my Explore tab, Paris is one of the destinations, and it's like $300. It's freezing in Paris. It's freezing in Paris right now. And JetBlue has like a fair sale, I think like $80, like one way, depending on where you're going. And Paris is very cold. So again, you want to plug in your airport code. Over time, you'll know your airport code. And it's easier to plug in stuff. Put in your airport code. Mine is EWR. And then put in Paris. And I think you should get like 4 500s. And then again, if you change the departure date to like the summer, dead of the summer, July, August, your flights will probably hover like 800. It's like 1,000. Easy. Paris is a very popular destination during the summer. So for me, this is how I book my flights. I don't use any search engines. I do sometimes use the Explore tab when I don't know where I want to go, but for the most part, I really just focus on high and low season, and like finding my sweet spot. Picking the flights is probably one of the first things that you do, but booking the flights is probably one of the last. And the reason why I do it first, because it's the easiest. It's the easiest step by far, especially when you recognize patterns, you know where you want to go, you know what you want to do. Picking a flight is pretty simple. And as you travel more, you'll see what I'm talking about. And the reason why I booked the flight last, after, you know, doing all these search engines and playing with dates and playing with locations and stuff like that, because there's so much that goes into planning the trip after you book your flight. Now, for starters, there is one caveat, and this is for people who are in the US. All airlines are required to refund your money if you book a flight within 24 hours. And I believe the standard is 7 days before your flight. So if it is 7 days before your flight, you can cancel your flight free of charge, all fees and everything within 24 hours. So if you get like a flight error booking, that's probably like the ultimate travel deal. No gimmicks. Flight error, flight fare error. That's when they make a mistake with the flight pricing. And usually you get like a crazy flight for very cheap. Those are the one true flight deal. So if you find it, book it. But those flight deals, there's a caveat. Like, I think today's January 14th. JetBlue has a flight deal to Europe. Yeah, like Paris, London, a few places. I think like one way for as low as like $8. So, but after you pick your flight, you want to, and you have an idea which flight you're gonna take. Usually when I'm searching for flights, I'm like, okay, I like this flight. I like the layover. I like the country that it's in. I like the layover time. I like the time that I land. I like the time that I leave. All those things is, important to look at when you're booking a flight, not just the cost, because sometimes booking the cheapest flight is not actually the cheapest, because the time you land or the time you take off can actually cost you more money. So once you do pick the flight, you want to look at the layover. How long is your layover? Where is your layover? How much are you planning to pack? What is the climate? Are you doing multiple countries? And the reason why I mention these things is because one, wherever you're traveling to, they usually have flight requirements. In COVID times, 2020, 2021, 2022, you either have to be vaccinated, you have to get COVID tested, quarantine requirements. All countries have a requirement for you to enter. You just can't just walk in here. You just walk in here. So first you want to do is see the visa requirements. Do you need a visa? See what the visa requirements are, and also for your layovers. Some layovers, even if you do not leave the airport, you need a visa. I have seen countless travelers quite literally have to book their vacation twice because they did not have a visa for their layover. One country that is a repeat offender is India. India requires a transition visa. I've never gotten one, but it's like transitional visa. So even if you are just sitting in the airport for your layover, you need a visa. Some visas, again, they require 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. Some are visa on arrival. Some are, you can only apply online. Some require an interview. So again, you can book last minute fares, but you need to make sure that you're able to get there and stay there. You also need to look at vaccinations. If you're going to like Africa, a lot of them have vaccine requirements like yellow fever. You may have gotten them when you were a baby, but still it's great to double check. Some countries still may require the COVID vaccine. Some require the flu vaccine. So again, if you don't have these things in place, you don't want to just book your flight all willy-nilly, especially if it's last minute. You will lose your money. And with India, say you have a flight, usually it's like if you're going to Asia, if you have like a flight from New Jersey to Thailand and you're stopping in India, no, let me correct myself. You have a flight to Thailand, your departing flight, you stop in Paris. You're good to go, you don't need a visa, you get to Thailand. On the way back, however, you stop in India before getting to New Jersey. You will not be able to board in Thailand without a visa for India, which means that you'll have to book a whole new flight. So you do not want to get caught there. And no, they will not, well, they might deport you if you make a big enough fuss, but you can also go to jail. So I wouldn't do that. Again, also what time of the day, night you land. If you're a solo traveler, some of the cheapest flights land at like 2 a.m. I don't think you want to do that. If you're solo, I will, but if you're like, cause I'm crazy like that. If you're like a new traveler, if you're an inexperienced traveler, you want some daylight. You want to see things very clearly. You want to give yourself enough time to navigate the country that you're going to, navigate the airport that you're going to, customs and all that stuff. You don't want to be navigating that in the dark. I'm not saying that it's unsafe to travel in the dark, but for someone who might be inexperienced, don't do that. Don't do that. So that's it for necessarily like picking the flight. For me, my order is picking a flight, looking at the layovers, how much layover time that I have. Ooh, I forgot something. The layovers. Depending on the city, there are certain airlines in certain countries that have stopover programs. So if I'm looking at a flight, say to Portugal has a very good stopover program. Another video, it's a video in itself. I'm going to look into their stopover program because I may be able to extend my trip for a certain amount of days for free. So before I do that, before I just go ahead and book, I want to see like, any restrictions or blackout dates for these stopover programs before I go ahead and book. That's another thing to look out for. So yeah, once I pick my flight, I do all those things, look at the stopovers, visas, vaccines, how much time I have, what the climate in each region is, because you can be traveling across different climates on one trip. So look at those things. And another thing with visas, the visa requirements may be different if you stop in a certain country. So for example, it will be visa free if you're like going from the US to a certain country in Africa. But if your stopovers in the African countries, some countries might be petty and say, no, you need to get a new type of visa to go to the next country. They almost got me in Zanzibar. They had stopped me for a little bit. I was like, you were in Kenya for how long? So you have to be wary of those certain things. So once I settle all those matters, I pretty much go into like my hotel bookings, seeing how much that costs, seeing if I like the hotels for what's available for the dates that I'm traveling, and then I book my flight. Once I book my flight, I usually reserve the hotel. I don't always book my hotel in advance because I like to change my mind. And sometimes when I land, I see another region that I want to stay in, and I will switch hotels. So I try to get stuff that is refundable or you can pay on arrival. That's another thing, travel insurance. Please get travel insurance when you book all these things. It will save you some money. I gotta admit, when I first traveled, I never got travel insurance, ever. It wasn't until COVID that now I get travel insurance anytime I go internationally. Domestic is a lot easier to navigate. It's pretty easy and straightforward. Next video is probably gonna be one of my favorites, and that is multi-country travel booking. It is my favorite method of traveling. I love bundling up a country, get more done for less money, especially when there's a good stopover program. I don't know if I'll get to the stopover portion of it in that next video, depending on how long I talk and ramble. But yeah, look out for that. 2 weeks. I might surprise y'all and do one. Might. So be on the lookout for that. I might ramble because I do love multi-country trips. And I'll show you I'll show you a few countries that pair really well. So I'm excited. Travel School episode 3, 2 weeks. Just to add, these flight prices fluctuate every day. They can change any minute, any hour, any day. So the prices that you see in this video can change by the time you watch this video. But again, the patterns remain the same. I hope this video was informative, and I look forward to having more travel school with you guys. Bye.